Claudio goes back to the conversation, John, there's one more question about drugs, if you don't mind my asking. They
Yeah.
seem to have been part of most of the bands back in those days in the development of spontaneous, influential, and meaningful music that you were creating back in those days. Do you see this as a negative element these days? Like looking back, was it important? Was it how was it? Because I really don't know. Because you have,
Well,
for example, in the Cosmic Jokers, you have Klaus Schulze and Manuel Getsching and those people playing supposedly under the influence of drugs and making these amazing experimental sessions being taped in the studio, and they became classics. So I don't know uh, how much drugs had to do in the whole process.
yeah. Basically, every culture has drugs involved.
No.
It was like that always. It only depends how you use them. When we were in our teens and breaking away from society, we realized we're all in jail, we're all in a prison, and we wanted to get out of this prison. So you try, first of all, you go away from places where you know, from families, where you know this is prison, is going nowhere. Then you're not successful. It's not the solution to just run away. Then you try drugs, and especially when we started taking drugs, the big thing was LSD, which was a new drug. In fact, when we took it the first times, it was still legal. It was not forbidden, and it's a very, very, very interesting drug. I've seen many people die or go mad on LSD, but what it does, it takes away your ego completely. We took drugs because we thought it might be a way to get out of prison, of this prison, to break out. After a while, we found out it's not the solution. It was not the solution. It cost many friends. It cost many bad experiences. So the next thing opening up was the spirit. And I think that man is a self-developing mechanism. And you've got to find this out. Through communication, you've got to find this out. That's when music helped us very much. This is more a solution. But you can also in spiritual life, you can get stuck. You can be obsessed by some sects or whatever. Everything can go in the right or in the wrong. So we cannot tell this is good, this is bad. Our parents, our teachers told us what's good and bad. We have to find out ourselves. And what is good for you might be bad for me. What's good for me might be bad for you. Everybody has to find out himself. Also, sometimes something is good. At another time, it might be bad. It depends. You have to decide from moment to moment. Sometimes a drug is good. Sometimes it's really bad for you.
Did you ever make any records like under the influence of drugs? Sorry to ask you this.
Of course.
You did. Okay.
We played performances. I mean, we had when we started being on stage, we had weeks and months when we were on acid and performing all that. It was just there all the time. You know Yeti?
Yeah. Yes, of course.
On Yeti, there is a song called "Sandos in the Rain."
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Well, I kind of. Maybe you can tell me more.
Sandos is a big Swiss company, and they invented Hoffmann, the inventor of LSD, sold it to them. So Sandos was selling very good LSD. And Sandos in the Rain. And is the only title on this album when AMON DÜÜL II and all the other Düül members that were there before all played on one song together. It's an improvisation, by the way. The company Sandoz sued us and said, because I think they sussed what is going on, and they thought, you doing this because of LSD. And of course, we won the process. We won the lawsuit because we told them, no, Sandoz is just a sound creation that we were using for a song, and it's not to do with the company. And we got away with it. But coming back to your question, you can make your own conclusions.
Good information. Thank you.
Hey, John, I was going back to a little bit of the discography and studio album. I noticed that the one you did one in 81, Vortex, then 95, Nada Moonshine, then 2010, Delirium.
Nada Moonshine is not an AMON DÜÜL album. Nada Moonshine is not an AMON DÜÜL album.
Oh, sorry about that. So,
yeah, they say it was, but it was actually, Nada Moonshine was actually created by Chris and Lothar Maid. And it was a terrible thing. I wasn't involved. Chris always wanted me to play on it and said, then we can call it an AMON DÜÜL album.
Oh, I see.
But it was made because everybody wanted the audience wanted an AMON DÜÜL album. So Lothar and Chris took the advantage.
Yeah. So the question was, there was a lot of years in between studio albums, so where you guys were more comfortable touring all the time than going back to the studio and recording new material, or there's some specific reason why there's so many years in between albums?
At the moment, we have negotiations with record companies.
Yeah.
And nowadays everything is different. You do your album in your own studio. You don't have to use the studio of a record company, so it's all a bit different. Only a side thing, they up to July 21, there will be releases of the best albums in bulks, like 4 or 6 albums at once. There will be releases from record companies. This is only side information. We are working on it now. One record company even offered to produce a new album, a real album, real studio album, a real good one. Well, coming back to your question, when we were in the commune, in the beginning of the commune, there were so and so many people, like 10 or 20 people coming together, and everybody was self-sufficient, and everybody had something and brought it along. Most people came with a car, so we had, at times we had 20 cars in the yard. Who bloody needs 20 cars, So living all the years in the commune, you do not have to take care of outer life so much, because many things just happen by themselves when you so many people. There's always somebody cleaning up. There's always somebody paying the rent. There's always somebody doing what is necessary. You don't have to do everything yourself anymore. This creates a state. After a while, the commune is like a very big tit. Everybody sits on it and sucks. And no one takes care of life anymore, because he said it will be done anyway. People will do it. Someone will do it. So after so many years, we all were very insufficient in living by ourselves. And we had one moment, I remember we had a gig in Berlin. We played there. And in those days, we drove a very big Cadillac Fleetwood Long. It's a car. It's about 3 times as long as a Volkswagen. 8 people could sit in there, or 12 people could sit in there comfortably. We freaked out Frank Zappa when we visited him in south of France, when we played in Antibes together with him. We came up with this giant Cadillac, and when we went into Nice to look for his hotel, the streets became smaller and smaller and smaller, and all of a sudden this big car couldn't go around the corners anymore. So all the French people looked out of the window and said, stupid Bosch people from Germany, they don't even know they can't come in the streets with a big car like that. Then the doors opened and 12 long-haired beasts came out and carried the car around the corner and drove on. We actually lifted the car and carried it around the corner because it couldn't be driven anymore. We came, when we had this gig in Berlin, we came from Berlin going to Munich, and it was very, very silent in the car. In fact, all the journey, 6 hours or 8 hours, no one spoke a single word, because we had a discussion before and days and weeks before, and it accumulated that we all were not self-sufficient anymore. We probably couldn't survive as single individuals anymore, because we were so dependent on this commune. This was the big kid that fed us all. And everybody knew a decision was necessary. And actually we thought we have to split up the commune, see that everybody becoming self-sufficient again, and then come back. And this was one of the reasons for the holes between the albums, because the Cadillac came into Munich, stopped, the doors opened, everybody took his bag, and everybody went into a different direction. Weeks later, we called each other up, here I'm there, depression is over, or whatever. But everybody had started to get his own flat, to have a girl and get into a partnership with a girl. Or what it's been not the commune anymore. And then it was all different, it was not like playing all together all the time and making an album every year. It was being separate, and it's very hard if something is split to bring it back. We've always been friends and always been AMON DÜÜLs, being together, but everybody had his own trip. For instance, I was going to Australia for a while, over a period of 6 years. Whenever it started being cold here, like September, October, I went into a plane and went to Sydney. And I stayed there till June, half year, and came back in June to Munich. Summertime started. And I did that over a period of 6 years. It means for a period of 6 years, I only had summers. And of course, we realized that the AMON DÜÜL thing was not just a career. It was none of us ever thought of a career, in the beginning of making a career. Even now, I'm not thinking it is a career that we had. It's our life. It was true life, and it was our desire to seek, to find something out, to go somewhere, has been answered in a way. So everybody has experienced something. It's been our life, and we cannot just split now and do nothing. That's why we're still together. That's why we've been playing all the time. I mean, last year we had 4 gigs in Munich even, because we didn't play in Munich for a long time. And we played Europe all the time, all the years. And we're hoping very much that in 21 we can play again.
No, absolutely. Yeah, that's it.
Play again, but especially to be together again. I mean, to be, we experience something which you cannot share with anybody else but people from the band. It is such an extreme lifestyle that it's very hard to share it with somebody outside,
Nowadays, thank you very much for your insight and for your answer. Um, Nowadays that you're at home, what kind of music do you listen to? You mentioned classical music before.
Well, I listen to classical music, but I
Yeah,
do my own music, of course, all the time. I've got guitars all over the place,
yeah,
and I've got at the moment I've got this setup. I set up this studio.
yeah,
It's very nowadays. It's all much easier to set up a studio. I had a studio in my last place before I was here. I'm in the city now again, in the middle of the city in Schwabing in Munich, and I had a studio. I had a house before, and I had a studio in there. And I had a practice room which I lost this year because some asshole actually took over, and it was just 2 minutes down the road. You know, I could at any time I could just go there and get a blow and blow my ears in my practice room. Unfortunately, this is got lost, but it's okay because at the moment we can't use this anyway. We couldn't use it because we're not allowed to come together in a practice room and play. But I've got 1 or 2 possibilities for a practice room for beginning of next year. And also started the studio, bought a few new machines, kept the best old machines, and I've got at least 30 or 50 really good songs, and I think 3 of them are top. They might bang out. So you'll hear from us definitely. And if you're not hearing from AMON DÜÜL, because some died away, percussionist Jan is married in Thailand now. He's in Munich at the moment, but his woman built him a house in Thailand. You know, the family, they are doing this and they're building houses for the guy. But then you will look out for something called John von Düül.
So the new material, when it's going to be released, and then you plan on touring in Europe and United States, Latin America, hopefully.
We go there anytime, but you know, the best. The guys from Chicago, if they listen to your radio, hey, guys from Chicago, they were the best, but to go over to America costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
And so we still waiting for an offer so we can afford it. But we'd love to play America. We're definitely going to play England. I've got so many offers from England. Going to play England again. And while the rest of Europe, we've been on all the festivals in Europe. Actually, a couple of years ago, we played Nice. No, not Nice. A big festival in a French city. And there was the saxophone player of Elvis.
Really?
What was his name? Matthew Parker. Isn't it Matthew Parker?
No, I don't know.
I don't remember.
It's the sax player. He played Elvis on Elvis on all the records.
Oh.
And the funny thing was, in the elevator, you know, there were 20 bands in town, and in our hotel were 5 or 7 bands. The pool was 24 hours open. The food usually closed at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It was 24 hours open when they realized the musicians are hungry all the time. We had a ball there. It was really great. And at one occasion, I went into the elevator and there were 2 black guys, obviously musicians. And I said, "You playing the festival as well?" Oh yeah, we play the festival. I said, what's your name? And he said, Matthew Parker. And I didn't know that it's the sax player, it's Elvis sax player. And I said, no, who is this? And then he said in a French fashion, Mathieu Parker. And I still didn't understand. And then we found out who we are, and it was really fantastic. So in Portugal, there's an English guy who's having an annual festival in Portugal, near Porto. We played all of it. We played Sweden. It was all fantastic, and I hope we can do it next year again when the bloody plague is going away.
Christian would like to see you in South America. You need to go back to Chile, Argentina,
anytime as soon as
Brazil.
Yeah, there's a little sect in Brazil.
Yeah,
they are what a very strange email. It's got, I think there's a bit Nazi vibration there, and they really groove on Deutsch Nepal. You know Deutsch Nepal, the song.
No.
The song Deutsch Nepal.
Yeah.
And they really love Deutsch Nepal because it's based on the one day when we were very, very stoned in Germany, we had this idea, man, what would have happened if Hitler would have won? And we were all pale and shocked. Oh shit! We would have go away very far, very far. And I said, yeah, we go to England. No, further away. Greece. No, further. Egypt, further away. Nepal. We go to Nepal because it's on the other side of the planet.
Yeah.
In those days, there was no internet and nothing. When we had this stoned idea, I said, Nepal. Hitler never comes to Nepal, so we'd be safe there. And we start Deutsch Nepal. So he thinks there's a German colony and he will never come because he will not come to conquer because he thinks Germans are there already. That was the original idea of playing Deutsch Nepal, of inventing Deutsch Nepal, you know. And there's this little community in Brazil, and the internet tells that there was something, there's a spiritual part of the Nazis, so-called spiritual part of the Nazis, Ahnenerbe. It's called Ahnenerbe. And this is in there, Ahnen is ancestors, and Erbe is inherited. Ahnenerbe. This was this section in Hitler's Reich, and they were looking for the weird stuff, for the spiritual stuff, for reading thoughts and all that. They had no idea about it, but they called it Ahnenerbe. And there's this little village or whatever. I think the father is is a bit brown, and they've got this email, and there's Ahnenerbe in the email. AHNEN, Ahnen, ERBE, Ahnenerbe, and they are real fans.
Really?
In Brazil.
Well, you have many fans here too, so I hope you do come one day. To be honest, yeah.
Just call us. We'll be there.
we will. Yeah, we'll do so. Now, to be honest, I never do this, but I don't know how much more time you have, but I have like 3 or 4 topics I'd like to cover with you, and I'm just what I'm going to do now. There you are. Sorry, I'm going to send it again because I just sent them to Claudia. I have like 4 questions that maybe you want to answer briefly or whatever, but they are very important questions from me. The first one is, what was it like working with people of back in the heyday of, in the 70s and 80s? Were you a big community of musicians? Were this a competitive attitude because you work with people from, Popol Vuh, that, we know as well. Did you all share experience in Germany? How was it like? Because I have no idea really.
Yeah, those days people still were together. They were working together. It's my phone, sorry. They were working together. They were helping each other. I remember a big festival, the first big festival, the Essen Song Days in Essen. There was Taste, Zappa, Pink Floyd, The Nice. Everybody was there. Fleetwood Mac. Everybody was there. And I remember in those days, they all had WEM PA systems. And in the afternoon, all the roadies of all the bands were putting together all the PAs and making one huge, giant, big PA system. And everybody was singing, and Fleetwood Mac, best band in the world, AMON DÜÜL, best band in the world. Everybody was together, and they were creating something big. Nowadays, when we, especially, this was actually carried in from America, when you are a backing band of an American group, you're not supposed to use their PA system, or maybe 10% of it, but you're not getting, they are not working together anymore. In the 70s, the 80s were the beginning of the end. The 80s were, in my view, the worst decade of the last century. The 80s was just lipstick and bullshit. Was really terrible. But before that, 60s, 70s, I'm so proud I was there. There was something was going through this planet, and not just in music. The other day, I found a book from the 70s from Krishnamurti. I don't know, have you ever heard of Krishnamurti?
Just the name, yeah.
It's an Indian guy, and the book came out in the 70s. And when you read it, all this vibration is there all of a sudden. You do not have books like that today. Today it's about superficial entertainment, not about seeking. There are no seekers around anymore. Or the seekers they're all connected inside privately and not publicly anymore. I remember a guy called Reshad Field. He's a Sufi dervish. I think it was in the 80s. We had articles about Muslims being bad or bad influence and all this terror shit that started. And he had a chalet in Zurich, and he closed it down immediately and said, who needs advertising? And they all went into the underground, went back into the underground. I think all the seekers, you'll find them in the underground. And that's also why I don't like this terrible expression, the K word, it's underground. Look for the underground, look in the underground. AMON DÜÜL was in the overground for a little while, but then went back into the underground. And that's our destination. That's what we do, but we are alive and kicking until we die.
Now, John, had you not been a musician, how could you possibly picture yourself during the past 50 years or so? What else do you think you could have done? What other way could you have taken back in those days?
I think I could have done anything of interest, but it wasn't like that. I became a musician, and my family was disgusted. They couldn't believe it. You know, they couldn't believe it. The boy, well educated, and now he's going in this breadless fashion. And it is also it is a problem, you know, to a living. I personally, I'm very happy to have no problems, no outer problems. But I know many musicians who don't know how to buy dinner.
Yeah, I understand that. Now, how do you see this return of the vinyl form, or the vinyl records? How do you value this? Why do you think people are so amazed, especially the newer generations? You know, I grew up with vinyl, and I'm a big fan of the format. Do you give it any special value to this format?
Our records will come out in vinyl very soon again, all of them. And people say it's just a better sound. And when you look into MP3 or MP4, it is different. And record, you've got even the scratches. I like the scratches. And all these Spotify and co stuff, it is a different, it's a different experience. It's a different hearing experience. It's not what you have on digital. I personally also believe digital is good for some things, but it's not good for all things. There's a digital wrong way going on because they want everything digital. And we see some of the young kids really suffer from wiping screens, and deteriorating completely. It's terrible. And I think vinyl might be a trend for them at the moment, but it's also the kick to be different. And I'm glad that it's there, because there are people, they don't want to go mainstream. And in the beginning, that's a trick of the industry. You've got something and you got to have it because the other one has it too. No, get something of your own. Go your own way, go a special way, and then communicate. No greed, no envy, but together.
So are the records going to be remastered? I suppose. Are they going to be available outside Germany? What's the plan?
Definitely outside Germany, worldwide, definitely. It's a big company, it's a major company. They want to do it. There are two major companies. There's actually Sony and BMG, and it's going to be either of the one of them.
No.
And I got my own label now.
How do you?
Yeah, and there is I'm gonna have I've got 3 albums on it. One is from my trio called JHM, just JHM. John, Michael, Howell. John, Howell, Michael. And there's 2 albums. One is called Pure Spirit. The other one is called Wounded. I could send you MP3 of it.
Yeah, that would be good. So we can play in the radio. Christian can play in the radio.
Yeah, I send you a mail and hook it on the mail. I send it to Claudio.
Yeah, and then I can share it with Christian as well. You can.
Yeah, well, that's something. And then I've got something else. It's called easel.com. Easel.com. Esel means donkey. In German language, esel.com. And it's a guy, it's just 2 guys. It's very underground. It's a bit like children's songs, but always cheek in tongue. And when I'm saying you're not civilized, you're just industrialized, this guy sings something, and it's so nice and so non-revolutionary, but so on the point, and he's explaining it without insulting anybody or hurting anybody. And I put that on my label as well. The label is called Klangbureau. Bureau written in Bureau. 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 Klang. Klang is sound. Klang means sound. It's Klangbureau, sound bureau.
I'm going to choose between 2 questions now. You mentioned a while ago that you have been making music for the movies, which I'm a big fan of music for the movies. So is Claudio, and in fact, I usually try to promote music from films all the time. Every time I've been on radio, I've done my shows. Now, I'd like to know what type of films have you been working in what area?
Actually, for one of the musics, for one of the scores, we received what you call the Oscar, the German Oscar. It's called Bundesfilmpreis. Nowadays, it's called Lola. And I'm a member of the Film Academy of the German Academy, and we select who's getting the Lola every year. We do that in January. We do it again. I always have to watch 80 movies to select. But we had in '71 we had this award, this German movie award for a movie called San Domingo of a guy called Süberberg, famous filmmaker. Süberberg with a Y on Süberberg.
Just checking it. Okay.
And Well, we made music for Fassbinder, for Kluge, for everybody, for Maria Schell, for Veit Relin, for everybody. We made so many music. It's amazing.
Interesting. Well, I want to thank you for the time, John. It's really been amazing.
Sorry. By the way, I just released, licensed Green Bubble Raincoated Man to an American company. Who was it? They were called Thrasher Magazine. Thrasher Magazine. You know Thrasher Magazine?
No, but we need to check it out.
Thrasher Magazine, High Speed Productions, Underwood Avenue, San Francisco, California. Contact Ashley McLean, and they licensed them Green Bubble Raincoated Man for Soap Shop Rock, Burning Sister for a skater movie, for a skater YouTube video or whatever.
You made the music?
No, it's a Green Bubble Raincoated Man.
Okay.
This is my music, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And it was Soap Shop Rock on this one. Last year I did Green Bubble Raincoated Man on another skater YouTube movie. I don't know, the skaters obviously like my music.
Yeah, that must be a reason. Yeah. Maybe you were a skater in another life. I don't know.
Yeah, but I'm a skier. I couldn't. I've got rollerblades.
You see, that's why.
Everybody thinks I'm crazy when I'm still going through the city with them.
I'm not sure if you mind about this question. I really have no idea how old you are. I can't imagine, but.
Well, I'm 49.
49, yeah, I imagine that, yeah. And how do you feel about it?
Well,
how do you feel about time going on and on and on?
Well, it feels like 28. I feel I haven't done anything in my life, and the big thing is still to come.
Excellent. That's the spirit. Yeah, that's rock, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thank you for the time. It's been an honor, a pleasure.
My pleasure.
Please. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much for all your time. That was an interview with John. And thank you very much again for your music, your patience with us. We've been going back and forth for 3 weeks already, so I'm very happy. And definitely John and Christian also. For Christian is he really likes Popol Vuh. So if we can do a follow-up with if we can put us in touch with some of the Popol Vuh members,
Daniel,
on the band or outside the band, because
there's only Danny left, you know.
Danny,
Renate was singing on Popol Vuh sometimes, our singer.
Yeah.
And Danny, our drummer, was doing most of the music and it was only Danny and Florian, you know. And Florian died.
Yeah.
In fact, when Florian died, we were at the funeral, and we played a song called Mozambique, a DÜÜL song called Mozambique. We never played this live, only on the funeral. And next day, the Munich paper said, from now on, you can make rock music on a funeral. AMON DÜÜL has established that.
Were you good friends? Were you good friends with Florian?
Oh, yeah. I remember when he bought his first Moog. He invited everybody, all the musicians from Munich, to his house. And he presented this and played a little and all that.
Wow.
I was very lucky that here in Chile, the Goethe Institute had a special festival when I was going to university, and they showed most of the Herzog movies, and I fell in love with the music because it's really amazing. And that's my little story about it.
Yeah, Danny's a great musician, and when there will be next album, it will be definitely Danny and me together on it.
That's great. Yeah. Thank you again for your time, John. I will send you the audio and the video.
Very nice.
Records, and I will let you know next week when we have the website up, so you can listen to the interview. We are going to be playing your music. Christian also in his race is going to be playing your music, and definitely we want to set up you can help us set an interview with Danny, it will be great. And we hope to see you here in Washington, D.C. next year.
Oh, we'd love to be there.
Yeah, and Christian wants to see you in Santiago. So, stay healthy, eat good food, read a lot of stuff, keep on producing music, and we'll see you very soon. Thank you again.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No
Merry
problem.
Christmas.
Our pleasure. Our
I
pleasure.
hope you carry on doing a good job.
Thank you.
Yours
You
will.
too.
Thank you. Thank you again. Yeah. Have a good.
Bye.
Bye, Christian. Bye.